Okay, now we are going to talk about CSS precedence. So we already saw that an HTML document can be matched by several selectors, and they can apply multiple styles. In fact, some styles might be possibly conflicting. So how to resolve them? So let's say this div, this element is targeted by div also, this element is targeted by dot section also, because it is a class is equal to section. But you see that both are having setting conflicting rules on color. So this is setting color red, this is setting color blue. So which one will be finally applied to this thing? Obviously the one which is going to be in the end, that we discussed earlier also. I showed you example also, which means that if some rules have been defined in the same element with in different style sheets, then the value from the last red style sheet will be used. So the last red CSS rule in the style sheet is this, corresponding to this element, and that's why that will be applied. So that is fine, but this applies also to external and internal style sheets, which means that let's take an example of something like let's delete everything and let's make it simple. So we are trying to demonstrate that if some styles are applied and they are conflicting, and the one part is in the external style sheet and some other part is in the internal style sheet, then what happens? That is what we are trying to do. Okay, so let's see. We have a simple rule, something called, let's say, div, and let's say its font size is 20 pixel and its color is blue. This is fine and this is applied. However, let's say uh, that in external style sheets we apply a different rule. This also external style sheets also we are using, and in that we apply a different rule, which is something like this. So background color, let's say something, and color is equal to green. What do you think will happen when I refresh? See, if you see carefully, then actually obviously the both rules have been merged. See, font size is 20 pixels, so it is larger. Color is blue. Yeah, color is blue. But you see that background color is aqua, which means this rule is taken definitely. But this rule is not taken. Why is that? That is because the order of style sheets actually matter, which is actually mentioned here. If you are using a style sheet here and you are using another style sheet in the inline style sheet, then since this is the last, so this, in case of any conflicts, this the rules in this internal will apply. However, if that is not the case, let's say I take this link and I put it in the head only, but after this style. Now you see what will happen. This thing is right now blue, this thing is now become green. So basically what happened, that definitely font size is applied and then color is applied, but after that when this external style sheet applied, then the background applied, and then this external style sheet will take preference over this internal style sheets having color blue, because this is coming later. You will find this confusing in many places. Many places they will blindly say that that internal style sheets will take more preference over external. That is not the case. Actually, where are you linking the external style sheet, that matters. And most of the times the linking is generally done at the top, and then you are writing these things, and that's why generally they think that external style sheets have less preference. That is not the case. It is simply because of the ordering. If you put it below, that ordering is going to change. So right now see, it will again become blue. So this is what I wanted to explain here, that something like this and something like this, like they are completely different, and the ordering will matter in what style sheet is actually selected and applied in the particular element. Next, there is something called cascading order, and now we are going to discuss that why this CSS is called cascading style sheet. What does this cascading mean? So, still it is not that clear, but still we'll try to understand what they are trying to say is that all the styles at all the places, whatever happens, you think like all of them will cascade into a new virtual style sheet. So you can understand that all of them will be sort of bundled and grouped together and put into a new style sheet with some particular priority, right? And that priority will decide that what is the ordering of those styles in that virtual style sheet, whatever. Essentially the point is that we are trying to see that what style is eventually going to be applied, and this rule helps us understand that. The first thing is that inline style number one is the highest priority, which means the inline styles take the highest priority, which means that, let me clarify, I said that if it is above then this thing is blue, if it is below then this thing was green, you understand? But if I put here inline style and I say color is red, then color is red, then it does not matter. Always this thing will take preference, whether it is here or here does not matter. Now it will be always red. Why? Because inline has the highest priority. Whatever you set anywhere, inline has the highest priority. Next, internal and external styles as per their ordering in style sheets. So internal style sheet and external style sheets, they have the same priority. It just depends that what is their ordering, which we already discussed. And finally comes the browser default style sheets. So let me see my developer tools, and then you'll see that okay, I applied blue, I applied green, and finally this is red. So if I inspect its styles, then I will see that yeah, green is there, that is also overwritten by blue, and blue is there, that is also overwritten, but finally it is red. That is fine. Now that and all is fine, but you see some places you will see that this is user agent style sheet. What is this basically? So you see that yeah, these styles I have written, color red, font size 20, back, all these things I have written, but I never wrote this thing on div display block. This thing I never wrote anywhere, right? Neither here nor here. So where that is coming from? Actually that is coming from browser. For every element, browser has some default style sheet, and that takes the last priority. So if you have not given, if you have given anything, then those things will be applied, and that will override this thing. But if you have, for something you have not given anything, then by default whatever the default values browser is giving, that thing will take care of it. Which means that, for example, if I don't use any style, then this thing is black. Who said that this should be black? Who said that this should be black, right? So that is the point, that nobody ever said that this is going to be black, but the browser is saying that yeah, it by default it should be black, right? So in user agent style sheet it is mentioned that it is black, right? So they take the least priority. If you write anything, that will take care, that will take more preference. And this whole thing, this preference is basically a proper standard in the CSS specification, and that is called Cascade algorithm. This algorithm is slightly more involved, and there are a lot of more things there, which we will take up in some other video, because that is slightly more involved. At this point of time, it's not needed for you, but definitely if you are interested, you can just Google some Mozilla Cascade algorithm or something, and then you will get some results, and those, and if you are interested, you can read. Anyways, in further videos I will cover those things as and when needed.